So let's say that I take a 10 lakh policy. What the 10 lakh means?
Patients believe that if they walk into a hospital, anything that can be done until 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs of bill. That is the biggest myth.
So you are telling me that it is better to actually not sign up with insurance, just pay cash alone.
So they find ways and means, how can I reach? If this is not going to be sorted, all 15,000 hospitals in India will de-empanel all the 3 insurance companies. Then the insurance companies actually bend down.
Person stabbed the government doctor. But the hospitals can say, I don't want your insurance company at all.
So they're literally forcing a hospital that I am not bothered if you do a substandard treatment.
Do you know how corporates are working as a scam? They are trying to exploit patients' money.
Here and there, 1 or 2 hospitals can end up doing some mischievous stuff. Some unethical things can happen. These insurance companies will catch hold of that. They take that as an example and they think everything else is fine.
What is the deal with the pre-existing condition?
If you're obese, they don't give you insurance policies at all.
Seriously?
Fibroadenoma of the right breast is 5,000, fibroadenoma of the left breast is 6,000. That is how it's there in the PMJ scheme.
As a patient, we are thinking that it's a good government scheme.
Electoral politics. I don't want to get beyond this. I'm a doctor, I'm running hospitals.
Before we dive in, can I be honest with you? It blows my mind that 57.9% of you who listen regularly still have not subscribed to our channel. If you enjoy the podcast, the stories, the signs, maybe even laugh at our jokes, could you do us a small favor? Hit that subscribe button. It takes only 2 seconds and helps us keep bringing you better guests and episodes every week. I'm truly blessed to have all your support and I'm sure you will support me in the journey. Now, let's get into today's episode.
Hello guys, welcome to another episode of our podcast series Gut Feeling with Dr. Pal. In this episode, I'm interviewing my batchmate, Dr. Praveen Raj. He's a surgical gastroenterologist and he runs 7 corporate hospitals under the same name called GEM. The reason that I interviewed him today is to talk about what is happening in the insurance industry. Is taking an insurance a scam in India, or who should take it, how should we take it, and what are all the questions that you should ask when you are taking it. It was a wonderful episode. If you are someone in India looking to sign up for an insurance company, this is something that you really need to understand what is happening from the backside of the hospital. Okay, let's dive deep into it. Hi Praveen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's a little bit strange because I took your car to secure a good mark in GRE while we are doing house surgery together. And you are a very popular bariatric surgeon. And you run a big corporate hospitals. It's called GEM Hospitals. And I know you for the last 25 years. I know your family. I know such an ethical practice that you guys are doing. So thank you for coming on the podcast to talk about a very important topic, which is insurance. Okay. So you are a surgical gastroenterologist you have seen so many patients and now you are partly doing administration. How many branches of GEM is there?
We have 7 branches.
7 branches. In this, how westernization is slowly coming into Indian lifestyle, similarly, insurance is also coming into a major thing. So, for example, now because of my frequent travel to India, I am also thinking, should I take insurance while I'm here if I have a medical issue? Is the Western insurance an Indian insurance company is the same? Let me start, brother.
If you really ask, the healthcare as such is now exactly trying to copy the Western model of consolidation, smaller chains partly joining the larger chains, etc. And of course, protocol-based treatment practice, today a decision matrix-based practice. So healthcare as such is definitely copying the Western model. Good or bad is a different point. We will talk at a different podcast. But then with regard to insurance as such, because the healthcare evolution was similar on the Western trends, insurance also believed to follow the similar trends, and insurance started becoming a big thing. Maybe to 2008-10 onwards, it started becoming really big.
Here in India.
In India. So health insurance companies started opening up. All the other insurance companies were doing other insurances as such, like life insurances, or more so into motor insurances, fire insurance. They also started having a vertical for health insurance as such. So this was what started happening with this trend. But however, over time, what has happened, unlike in the US, of course, after the government started try to bringing in the government health insurance policies, the adoption rate of this wasn't as high as what we see in the West. Because in the West, it is almost 80, 90 or even 100% covered by insurance. In India, private insurance cover is not that big. Probably only 25% is covered by private health insurance. The remaining health insurance coverage is by the Chief Minister's Health Insurance Scheme of Tamil Nadu, or probably the PM Modi scheme or the PMJ scheme that we call in the national level, or you have the ECHS, CGHS, ESI schemes. So those are the government schemes as such.
But that is a majority.
That is the majority.
Okay.
So this is private health insurance that we are primarily talking about here is probably not as big as you see it in the West. So what is really happening is, because the boom didn't happen, unlike in the West where probably everything is covered by health insurance, right from your OPD,
Correct.
right from your IP, mental health, dental health, everything was covered.
Except for preventive health.
Preventive health. Here still, because the penetration is not so big, there are a lot of exclusions that is there. Okay, OPDs are not being covered majorly. There are some policies that might cover. In IP as such, okay, there are
IP is inpatient.
Inpatients.
When
yes.
you are admitted in the hospital.
In the hospital. So if it is connected to some pre-existing illness that you already had before taking insurance, will not be covered. Or anything that is indirectly connected to some other thing that you did not disclose may not be covered. So likewise, there are a lot of exclusions, which is sometimes even tricky for administrators like us, for doctors like us. So obviously it is tricky for the patient. So the health insurance as such is not really a Western model. Still, there are a lot of differences. Probably we are evolving. I am not sure how long it's going to take, but yes, we are still in an evolution phase.
So let's say that I had the problem, I thought, okay, so I'm going to take an insurance, and there were multiple insurance options that they gave us. And then they said that, okay, for a family of 4 or even for individual person, they said, you'll get 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 15 lakhs, and based on that, your premium varies. So let's say that I take a 10 lakh policy. What that 10 lakh means? Let's say that I have an abdominal pain. I come to your hospital. You diagnose me with appendicitis. And I get admitted in the hospital. You do appendectomy. What does this 10 lakh mean to translating to covering that expense?
Yeah, so the 10 lakhs, if you really ask, the sum insured. So whenever you take a policy, the first thing the insurance agents actually talk to you is about the sum insured. So this is a 1 crore policy. This is a 50 lakh policy. We have sum insured up to 10 lakh policy, which is probably big myth.
Correct.
Because the myth is, patients believe that if they walk into a hospital, anything that can be done until 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs of bill. So this is only happened because you quoted the example of appendix. Appendix now, I can get the best room, I can get the best surgery, I can get the best equipments, I can get the best consumables that can be used, and until 5 lakhs, this card will cover everything. That is the biggest myth.
That's what I am thinking as well. 10 lakhs based,
Yeah, now what really happens is, because that is how they tell you, and they sell you the policy. Sir, up to 10 lakhs, everything is covered. Up to, whatever the sum insured that you take,
Correct.
you believe everything is covered. Like when we buy this car, this car insurance, they call it, sir, bumper to bumper, everything is covered.
Correct.
But when you actually go, 30%, 40% of the bill only will be covered. They say, sir, labor cost, this cost, depreciation cost, something they'll tell you, you'll not even understand. This is exactly like that. So what they will sell this to you. So you come to the hospital, once I diagnose appendix, you will take out your card, showing the cashless card, thinking it is a credit card. Sir, up to 10 lakhs, take whatever, because people think it is a credit card. They can come, swipe, anything until 10 lakhs. Sir, give me the best room, sir. Do the best, sir. 10 lakhs, ellame irukku. But then, on the other side, what happens is, these insurance companies, because of the clout that they have, go to hospitals, depending on the size of the hospital. If you're a small hospital, they literally stamp you. If you're a bigger hospital, you have a reasonably big negotiation. You sit down with them, they will say, for appendix, this is what I'll give you. 75,000 only, I'll give you for appendicitis.
The insurance company
negotiate with the hospital for package costs.
Oh, for a diagnosis,
for this surgery, I will give you this package. Are you willing to agree?
Are you serious?
So surgical packages are for the commonest ones. Maybe very rare things, they don't sign a package. For those, they have signed what is called standard operating cost. Which means they will sign, okay, for room charge, for this room, I'll give you only so much. For operation theatre charge, for the first hour, I'll give you only so much. For the second hour, I'll give you only so much. And these are big guys. Even if I run 7 hospitals, I'm much smaller to them compared to these guys, because they come from a corporate companies. All these large insurance companies are either public sector companies or they're large corporate companies. It's not a small guy who's running it, right? So sitting down at the negotiation table, it is like literally you are fighting with a big corporate villain on your cost. So 99 or 100% of the times, the package that you actually sign with these hospitals is lesser than what we actually charge for a patient who actually walks in for a cash patient.
Let me just try to understand this. Okay, so appendectomy, I'm coming in. Let's say that it takes 1.5 lakhs to do the right amount of surgery, right amount of equipment, and the good doctors. You need to pay the good doctors as well. But the insurance company is saying that even though you pay 10 lakhs to me, I mean, I'm telling you that I'll come for 10 lakhs. I come to the hospital and then say, I will pay only 75,000 to you. Okay. You do the surgery and everything within the 75,000.
I will be paid only 75,000.
So,
but my cost otherwise on a normal, my cost rate, tariff rate might be 1 lakh. But because I've signed up with, because he forced me or because he's a big guy, I have finally agreed only for 75,000 on this particular surgery.
So that's a loss to the hospital.
Absolutely. So this is the current reality at this point of time. But however, patients believe hospitals actually charging higher for insurance patients. This is the commonest belief in the market.
Oh, they think that they will charge more.
That is what normally what do you think? Because as a patient
correct.
you thought anything until 5 can be billed.
Correct.
These hospitals will bill whatever they want to bill. Chumma, these guys, okay, whatever, until they don't take money from me, whatever nonsense you want, you bill. So they think hospitals are overbilling. But actually, I can talk for every single hospital now, is actually what they earn through an insurance patient is lesser than what they actually earn through a cash patient. This is the current reality with most insurance companies. That is why, in fact, so what can possibly happen also is, let us say in our hospital, we are a high volume center, so we don't differentiate cash or the OT list is all the same. So protocols, pathways is all the same. But all hospitals cannot do it. If probably an independent hospital or standalone hospital, if they are running, if what they will be paid for a similar surgery is lower, obviously they will find cost effective maneuvers. I'm not saying inferior or probably very bad or unethical. I'm saying they'll find cost-effective maneuvers as such. For example,
so I'll tell you an example. I think this is exactly what I wanted to say. So if I'm a hospital owner, I would want to do the surgery in 60,000 rupees. So that I can get at least some profit out of it.
Exactly. So now what will happen?
So we are forced to cut corners.
So now let's say I will be using a harmonic scalpel doing appendectomy.
Harmonic scalpel is an instrument.
Harmonic scalpel is an instrument wherein you can actually cut a tissue. It will seal the blood vessels and cut it simultaneously. So using this, you can be very quick, you can be very fast, you can be bloodless.
And it's a state of the art.
It's basically state of the art. Now this equipment, basically one harmonic scalpel will cost you 40,000 rupees. Now, if a cash patient comes and if the patient is requesting for the state-of-the-art care, because now everybody expects world-class care. Now, India is in the top of the world in whatever we do. So, obviously, we want to give the care that is done in any part of the world. So, obviously, when we use these equipments, this comes at a cost. But the insurance company, when he signs a package, is not bothered what you use. I will pay you 75. You do whatever you want to do within that. So obviously hospitals may not be using this equipment. They might use, can I do the surgery without using a harmonic scalpel?
So there are other ways to do the surgery?
Yes, other ways to do that. I'm not saying they are inferior.
Correct.
Probably cost effective maneuvers because this 40,000 is not going to be paid. But if it is a cash patient, if the patient is willing to pay, sir, no problem, you do the best, I will pay the additional 40,000, probably the hospital will basically go and do it. Now the insurance company is not bothered. Again, for the insurance company, every single doctor is the same. As a patient, you want to go to the best doctor. Probably best doctor, hospitals have to pay more.
Correct.
So obviously, for a junior doctor and the senior doctor, cost will vary.
Correct.
But insurance company says fixed cost for your hospital. Whether your number one doctor operates, your junior most doctor operates, this is what I'll pay you. So the senior most doctor may not be willing to operate that particular cost. But at a hospital, I cannot either have to sign with the company or I basically don't sign with the company. So this is the biggest paradox that is happening. So insurance may not get, I'm not saying always, may not get us the world-class care, but there's a higher possibility you might get a cost-effective care because you have an insurance.
So I'm just going to summarize that. So even if, as you said, cost-effective care is also not that bad. Okay, it's maybe slightly inferior, but the risk of complications is slightly higher. Even the state of the art, you may not get it.
Yes. See, I'm not saying, again, cost effective for example, Gem Hospital was started by Dr. Palni Velu. His primary point when he started laparoscopy itself was, how can we make laparoscopy, which was unaffordable, because at that point of time it was extremely unaffordable, how can we make it cost effective that we can appeal to the masses? So he found cost effective ways to bring it down. So by cost effective, I am not meaning it might be inferior. It might be not the standard where it can lead on to more complications. That is not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, if there is a set standard, probably we might little bend down a standard in terms of, let us say, for example, we use aprons, linens on a particular patient, right? When we operate, we sterilize a patient. We put aprons, we put linens, we put all this to basically sterilize. Of course, in the past, we used to use linens, which is basically towels or linens which were washed, sterilized and then used. But in GEM, what has happened over the last 10 plus years, we have started to use non-ovens. Non-ovens means basically disposables. So for every single patient, we have a kit that comes, a non-invisible textile material, which is sterilized, pre-packed. So we put it on a patient. Once the surgery is over, we throw it. So it is a disposable item. Now insurance don't cover these. But in here, we have found ways and means that this can be done for every single patient. But let us say there is a standalone hospital. They might probably use the linen method for that particular patient, because it can be washed, reused, etc. And maybe the non-ovens use a disposable on a cash patient, because the cash patient was willing to pay.
So I'm just going to compare the exact same situation in the US. In the US, let's say I go into appendectomy, we do pay a lot for insurance. But when I get an appendectomy, I know that state of the art is being used, whatever is there in that hospital. And the minimal, the first $500 that I will pay, even if it is $2,000 or $20,000, the insurance will pay. Is that the case over here?
Yeah, so that is where now I'm coming at. Now let us say the insurance company now forces a hospital to sign a package. Okay, let's take an example of a hernia surgery. Now in hernias, you use what is called a mesh to strengthen the area where there was a weakness. Now you have products that are indigenously made, again, reasonably good quality. But there are imported ones, like for example in the case of stents, you have for the heart stent, there are the very basic stents, there are drug-eluting stents, coated stents, some titanium stents. I'm not a cardiologist, but I'm saying there are so many grades, so many different levels of which you can do. But now, let us say you as a patient, now you want the best mesh to be kept in this particular. Sir, please give me the best mesh that is available in the country. Yes, there could be an indigenous one which is cost effective, which is, I'm not saying they're inferior or bad, but they're definitely indigenously, locally made stuff. So now, even if it is going to be in a package, obviously the hospital is not going to put that particular mesh, which was a state-of-the-art, superior mesh, that could what I be using on my routine patients. Like in a cataract lenses, there are so many types of lenses. Let us say if insurance goes and sign up with that, I will give you only 25,000 for a cataract. They will probably put that lens, which within what can be put within 25,000 only. There are lenses available for lakhs also. How can that be given? So this is the whole trouble that with the insurance comes. So if the patient thinks I have 5 lakhs of cover, give me the best care within 5 lakhs, we will not be able to give that to you. Although you want to give me, I am assigned only for 75. I can do only what can be done for 75,000. That's it. I cannot do anything more than that. Even if you are willing to come and pay.
So you are telling me that it is better to actually not sign up with insurance, just pay cash alone?
No, that is not what I'm saying. Yes, it's always good to have insurances, but what you can otherwise do is talk to the insurance company that you're taking a policy. Ask him, are you going to hospitals? Are you negotiating package with your hospitals? And if they say yes, don't take up the insurance company. If they have a policy, because not all insurance companies do actually this. Although most companies do. Most companies do, not all really does. So if the insurance companies say, no, we don't sign, we go with the hospital pricing, take up that. Because now you and the other patient will be treated the same. But if they have already signed up with the hospital, then obviously if they have signed up means that cost, take it from me as a patient, because patients tend to think hospitals are the new corporate villains today. Hospitals are minting money from patients. That is what the movies and everybody is trying to penetrate. Doctors have become the soft targets, hospitals. That is what. But take it from me, if a package is signed between an insurance company and a hospital, you can close your eyes with, I can vouch for any single hospital, that pricing will be lesser than the actual cost that the hospital otherwise does. In simple terms. I'm not saying don't take a policy. If you are taking a policy, ask the insurance companies, are you negotiating? If that insurance companies has the habit of going and negotiating with hospitals, they're literally threatening hospitals. Don't take up those insurance companies, because those insurance companies are not bothered about the best care that you are getting. They're all bothered about is their profitability.
But the hospitals can say, I don't want your insurance company at all.
Now, what is happening is, yes, we can do. In fact, at GEM, we have not signed up with a lot of insurance companies.
You rejected their offers.
We rejected the offers. But the problem, what really happens is, now it causes a lot of inconvenience to your patients. If there are a significant number of patients that are taking a particular insurance as such, when they come to me, I don't have a cashless policy. One, there is a potential I can lose these patients. You could be my good friend, but because I'm not having a cashless, you may not come to me. One, or even if you still come to me, you will have
cashless is insurance.
Cashless is insurance. Basically, when I have a tie-up with it, so basically there's something called a cashless. Cashless means if I have a tie-up with an insurance company, you come to me and I do all the back-end work. So we have, I will send you a pre-authorization form to the insurance company. They will approve. I do all your surgeries. I send the final bill. If there's a package, I'll get that money. I send you home. What all will not, and there is nothing called 100% cashless. We will talk about that. You will pay certain amount which is not covered and then you go. But if I don't have a tie-up with an insurance company, still you can use your policy. You come to me, you pay all my bills, you take all those bills, submit back to your insurance company. Your insurance companies have to that is called reimbursement.
Reimbursement, correct.
You submit back to your insurance companies, ask for a claim. This is when I don't have a tie-up with that particular insurance company. But this is a hassle for the patients. You have to pay. Not everybody may be having that cash available, or most people will be like, they prefer cashless because nobody wants to take out cash. So for that reason, we cannot say no to a significant number of insurance companies. And for a smaller hospital, let's say for example, when they will not want to lose a patient because of not having an insurance, right?
So when a patient comes to the hospital, they say, hey, do you have my insurance? When they say no, the patient may walk
lose. Or the other reason is your agent will give you a booklet, or you have a website of your insurance. Let's say you have an insurance with somebody else. You log into the website, you know which all hospitals are tied up. So many times patients, they know the diagnosis, they go to the website, they search for the hospital name, they go to a hospital which is already into the list. So if your hospital is not there in the list, you may not come to me only. So that is also there. So significant, especially for cold cases. For an emergency, this may not happen. For a cold case like a hernia, because you know you're having a hernia, you do shopping, you call up 4 hospitals, check with them, do you have insurance, call up the website, you call up your agent. And then if you don't have a tie-up, that is also not there. No, and also causes a lot of inconvenience. Like for example, there is something called the GIPSA insurance. GIPSA is basically the 4 national, the public health insurance companies. United, National, New India, Oriental. They have come together and formed and kind of an association called GIPSA. They are 4 big guys. Imagine they are public sector. One of the insurance companies goes to hospitals and negotiates the cost independently. This is what we can give. And if you agree, all 4 will get tied up. This is an indirect form of monopoly. See, they control the largest sector of corporate health insurance today. These 4 companies, they sell policies independently, but when they negotiate with the hospital, they negotiate together. You are a single guy sitting and negotiating with all these big guys who threaten for the lowest rate. At GEM Hospital, Coimbatore, we were not willing for the price. We said we are not going to sign up with you because this is a monopoly. And there is always a possibility of corruption also in this, because when somebody joins together, when you are working separately, why do you want to negotiate independently? And there is no transparent pricing. There are 100 different prices for 100 different hospitals.
So the acute appendectomy, 78,000 example is not standard for all.
It's not standard. Each hospital, they independently go and negotiate.
So it could be 50,000.
It could be 50, it could be 40, it could be even 30. They could just sometimes give you crazy price, which is just not doable. But a small hospital, he has no choice. Should I take him or should I leave him? He's like, if you're taking it, take it, or I'm leaving. It is literally a cutthroat kind of a thing with these hospitals. This is the scenario. So many times hospitals at a point, because we were confident that we may not lose our patients because of a reputation we have built over time. Correct. We said no to these guys. But how many can actually say can say it? But only if everybody comes together as a hospital group of a city comes together and say all of us are not going to sign, then they will start bending down. But unfortunately, if you don't sign, somebody else will. They have enough number of hospitals in a zone that it can actually happen. But then this needs to stop. That is, insurance companies without standardization, no standard costing, going and negotiating with hospitals needs to stop, because this is, forget the hospitals. Our profitability is going down. It's not good for the patients. Because they are literally forcing the hospital to do whatever you want to do, but this is the cost I can give you. So they're literally forcing a hospital that I am not bothered if you do a substandard treatment. So this is the reality that we need to know.
So let's say that same example, 75,000, and I have a 10 lakh policy, and 75,000 rupees that they give to the hospital. Let's say that I'm coming to Gem Hospital and you're doing this super standard thing, state of the art, and let's say it is 1 lakh. And then you are graciously accepting that, okay, I want to give the best care. It's only 70,000. 20,000 I will absorb because I run a bigger volume center, so I'll be able to adjust the cost. I'm just saying, okay. In that scenario, will the patient pay anything out of pocket?
Okay, so in this, if it is going to be a straightforward standard appendix, patient, we are not supposed to get extra from the patient.
Correct.
We're not supposed to, so we will not get. So at GEM, what we do is whatever we do, whether it's insurance policy or cash patient, because nobody knows what is it. At the end of the operation theatre day, when the patient comes to the table, because no doctor knows what it is, because the list does not carry, so the same treatment continues. We are a high volume center, so we can reasonably manage this cost. But in not so high volume center, they may not be able to do it. So obviously here, even if the patient asks for the best care, and if the patient is willing to pay, the hospital is not supposed to get the payment. So that is the whole challenge here. But now, because you've asked this question, I'll slightly expand this. Let us say this was not a straightforward appendix.
Okay, complicated
appendix. Let's say a gangrenous appendicitis.
So explain what that means.
So gangrenous appendix means the appendix is complete. Regular appendicitis is where the appendix is just inflamed. But gangrenous means it's completely rotten or completely sloughed off, where it becomes the pus is all formed. It is not going to be a straightforward surgery. So obviously here, this is not a standard procedure. This will require a larger operating time. This will require more drugs to be used. This will, obviously you need a better surgeon to come and operate. And you might have drains to it. The recovery is also not going to be as quick as you can. The post-operative antibiotics extra will be higher. So this is where many a times the controversy starts. Because what happens is we now start submitting, this is a gangrenous appendicectomy, blah, blah, blah things we submit. Then immediately the insurance, whenever we say this is complicated, not as part of a standard, the insurance companies have a general, like a horse thing. They think the hospital is a fraud. They are now trying to create a story of trying to say it is complicated, it is not straight. Immediately this is when the patient's discharge, because all this happens at the time of discharge.
Correct.
Immediately they'll be like, no, submit these documents, get me a letter from the doctor, etc. This is not justifiable. The patient has only stayed for 3 days. This is not agreeable. This cannot be justified. So we will have letters go back and forth. So you would be thinking, okay, doctor has told me to go home. The discharge process will be done. This will go on for hours together, because we submit, they raise a query, and the doctor has to write a letter, then somebody audits that, they ask for a query. This goes on and on. There have been times where the patient has stayed in the hospital, and the patient cannot be sent home also. Even if the patient says, sir, no, because what happens is these guys can come for inspection. If the patient is not there, they believe we have created a fraud without a patient that we have even created a document. So this might go on for hours and hours. Finally, they might say, no, we may not pay you this amount. Most often they don't end up paying. This is what we can give, this is what we can agree, and this is just so very haphazard. Many a times they will give an approved amount. We send the patients home. When they pay, they'll pay as per the package.
So summarize that. So 75,000 is the package. Complicated, you kept on saying.
So finally 1,25,000 is approved.
But they say I will pay, but they'll end up paying only 75.
Now who will cover this 50,000 now? Patient has also gone home. Insurance company is also not paying. So this is the current reality, that each of our hospital are actually fighting with the insurance company. So constantly, let's say we keep this fight keeps going, happening. We keep talking about them. They think, see again, here and there, some fraudulent activities may also happen. As a doctor, let me also say, it's not everybody is good. Here and there, 1 or 2 hospitals can end up doing some mischievous stuff. Some unethical things can happen. These insurance companies will catch hold of that. They take that as an example and they think everything else is fraud. That is not the way. So they keep quoting these, because I am currently the insurance coordinator for Tamil Nadu for Association of Healthcare Providers of India, which is association of 15,000 hospitals in India. So for this, because when they asked me to take up the Western Zone coordinator, I volunteered for insurance to solve the problems between hospital and the insurance companies. So I actually went to a couple of insurance companies, sat down with them, said, these are the trouble that we have. And we collected data of the problems that hospital has, 30 plus hospitals with 100 plus beds all over Tamil Nadu. Every single hospital had multiple problems. And in Coimbatore, every single hospital that is above 100 beds in Coimbatore, we all came together. All the chairmen of this hospital came together. We sat down in one single room. We discussed about it. Everybody had so much of problem. They didn't even know where to address, because I'm saying hospitals above 100 beds, which are corporate, even they were not sure where to address, because one hospital's office is in Chennai, one in Delhi, one in Mumbai. All big guys. So finally we said, we will talk for you. We went to the insurance companies, spoke them. These are the troubles that they have. They will pick up one petty example from some Delhi, one hospital. See sir, this hospital is basically done all that. Then we finally had to negotiate, argue, finally said, if this is going to continue, we hospitals, all of us together, we will de-empanel you. And if that is going to happen, then how will they go and sell their policy?
Correct.
And it actually happened, not in Coimbatore. Actually, three insurance companies had a trouble with two major chains in Delhi. They had a big trouble, and AHP has stepped in and said, if this is not going to be sorted, all 15,000 hospitals in India will de-empanel all the three insurance companies. Then the insurance companies actually bent down. They came down and they said, okay, we'll solve your problems, and then finally came and solved the problems. So why I'm telling you this story is, it is not as rosy as what is think, because it is believed hospitals mint money in tie-up with insurance companies, but it's no. We are in tug of war with insurance companies. Not that we are friends with these guys. We hate these guys. But then we have to work in tandem to make sure the patients who come trusting to us are given back the care.
And this is only for inpatient admission. There's no outpatient coverage.
In India, predominant of the insurance companies do not cover outpatients. Certain policies, certain high-end policies in certain insurance companies cover outpatients also, but that's very, very minuscule. Predominantly it's IP care. OP cares are not covered in India.
And following up on your comment about corporate, okay. So, you remember this incident where the Chennai-based incident, a person stabbed the government doctor. Okay, at that point of time, I put a video that how can a patient stab the doctor? How can this happen? These guys are providing treatment, and how can this no security and all those things, right? But for that video, the comments were like, yes, I understand stabbing is not the solution, but have you ever come and worked in Tamil Nadu or in India? Do you know how corporates are working as a scam? They are trying to exploit patients' money. Why is that picture? In your opinion, why?
See, what has happened is healthcare has definitely become expensive compared to the past. There is no questions about it. And also what has happened is the era where it used to be like when you used to have a cold, you will go to your neighboring doctor, and the neighboring doctor will give you some medications, and then you just buy and come back. The cost was not so much. But nowadays what has happened, the trust for your local primary care physicians is now gone. So now, even for a small headache in our country, you have then access to go to a neurologist straight away.
Correct. That's a wonderful option.
That's a wonderful option. So if you have a headache, the first thing, if you are in a city level, or forget a city, even a tier 2 or a tier 3 cities have neurologists now. I'm just giving you a neurologist an example.
Wonderful option. When I said that, wonderful option is to have the access.
Correct. So now you have the access in India. Now, when you go to the neurologist, you cannot expect the neurologist to just give you a paracetamol or a diclofenac for a headache and send you away. Because he's a neurologist. For him, diagnosis of normal headache is not an issue. He needs to miss out one brain tumor, which could be 1 in 1,000. But you don't want the neurologist to miss it, because he's a tertiary care physician as such. So obviously, he will send you for a CT scan. CT scan would cost you 8,000-10,000, whatever it costs. Then he will finally give you a painkiller. So you come out and say, இந்த மெடிசனை நானே வாங்கி சாப்பிட்டுருப்பேன், இதுக்கு 10,000 ரூபாய் எனக்கு வச்சுட்டாங்க. So I think this access is also a trouble. Let's say in the Western system, or in say the NHS system in the UK, although not a very popular system, you cannot go to a neurologist like that.
Correct.
You first have to go to a primary care physician.
Correct.
He will treat you.
Correct.
If the problem is not solving, then they'll send you to a secondary care physician who will be an MD. If he thinks that there is something serious, then that will go to a neurologist. So neurologist will take a CT scan for almost everybody, but it is already filtered. Who are the milder guys is already filtered. But in India, whoever comes to you is coming for the first time. But then you, for a specialist, for example, if I have to be I'm basically gastroenterologist. If somebody comes with an ulcer disease, I cannot just give him one Pantocid and send him away. I have to do an ultrasound scan to make sure a gallstone disease is there or not. I have to do an endoscopy to make sure there is H. pylori infection or not, or there is a gastric ulcer or there is a tumor or not. But this will cost him X amount of rupees. Finally, I'm going to give, if it is nothing, I will give him. So basically, 9 out of 10 or 19 out of 20 are going to be normal. I'll give them that. They will be like, whole day wasted, spend 15,000 rupees. Doctor, this tablet I would only have been taken. But our challenge is not picking up those 19 normal, but that one abnormal a specialist has to do. I think this unorganized accessibility is what I think starting to make people believe it is expensive. You go to a major tertiary care hospital, they will do tertiary care. If you go to a primary care doctor, they will do primary care. I think, I don't know where this can start, but I think this is probably the reason the patient-doctor trust deficit has become big. Because everybody is thinking, if I spend so much of money, they should tell me some disease. We cannot say that, right? So I think that is where it is. If it is normal, they're like, normal. For this you did so much. I think so.
In the Western thing, the same thing is happening, not because of the patient satisfaction, it's because of the malpractice legal lawsuit. So if I miss that one patient out of 100 patients I see, that patient might file a lawsuit against me and all the money that I have generated so far will be completely gone. That legal risk is not that abnormal over here in India.
No. The legal risk has increased. Here it's still Consumer Act is strong. If something goes wrong and if they prove a negligence, see, if you have done everything as per the protocol, if something goes wrong, yes, fine. But if there is a negligence that is proven, you are likely to be penalized. In fact, to that extent, I have a lawyer for Gem Hospital on a retainer basis. I'm on a retainer basis, which is I'm paying him month on month, because to make sure all our documents, all our documentation that we talk to the patient is recorded, the way it is done. So in that part, healthcare has become similar to US. Everything has to be done. So in case, let us say somebody is coming with a stomach pain, I don't do an endoscopy, it turns out to be cancer later, you can sue me. And the question will be asked, you are a gastroenterologist, why didn't you do an endoscopy? I cannot say, see, patients are thinking I'm charging too much, so I did not do an endoscopy, will not stand in the court of law. Because you are a gastroenterologist, you are likely, they came to you because you should not miss. See, as per the protocol, you should have done an endoscopy, you have missed it. So, yes, lawsuit will apply to India also. So that is possibly making healthcare more expensive. And patients, but on the other hand, as I'm saying expensive, I should also want to put it, it's an open statement I can say, India is probably the cheapest in healthcare. Forget Singapore, Dubai, they are expensive, we know. Even neighboring countries like Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, for that case, even Pakistan is more expensive than India.
Seriously?
So the treatment, the investigations, everything is probably the cheapest in India. At the care that India gives is probably in par or even better than many parts of the globe. And in fact, we have a lot of surgeons and other people. Of course, they come to GEM, they come to many other places also for training. People come from the West to India for training. So that is the kind of care that is happening in India at this point of time, probably at the cheapest cost. So if it is said, corporate hospitals are minting money, its cost is very high, I think any surgery somebody can pick up, they can do a shopping to these countries that I mentioned about, you will know India is cheaper than countries that have not even developed to our leagues. So that is the reality.
Wow. So patient access is also a problem. Is that what you're saying?
Too much of an access is also a problem.
So will you suggest that, you can start from ground level, go to a primary care. Is that what you recommend as well?
Exactly. I think that is probably the way
it
basically should be. But what has happened is, in India, we continue to claim we don't have enough doctors. So more and more medical seats are being added.
Correct.
More and more postgraduate seats are being added.
Correct.
More and more super specialty seats have been added. Nowadays, what is happening? Everybody who wants to do MBBS thinks MBBS is of no value, goes into a specialty. And those who do a specialty go into a super specialty. So today it's very hard to find very good general practitioners where you could go for a headache, where you could go for a fever, or even general physicians for that matter. You might see so many neurologists now, but not so many MDs who do a very good job. So, and what is happening is everything gets centered around urban cities.
Correct.
So the periphery is still suffering. So I think, see, again, I don't have an answer for all this, but I still feel too much of an accessibility is also a problem. It's not wrong. See, good. And super specialists are cheap to access also. Like for 500 rupees consultation, you can get to meet a very good neurologist, which is not possible anywhere in the world. So that is why I sometimes funnily tell our super specialist conferences, I think if super specialist cost go up, let's say your OPD cost is 3,000 rupees, they'll probably patient will go to a MD. It will actually get structured. So only because you're actually keeping it cheap, this problem is. So it is not expensive, I would say it is cheap.
But I'm going to argue that they will never have it expensive because there are so many neurologists.
Exactly. So this accessibility will continue. So here they might pay cheaper, but they'll end up spending more because a neuro cannot send you out with just a painkiller. He's a neurologist. He needs to get it completely done.
And if he doesn't do it, then he will end up in a court of law.
There's a possibility the court of law suit thing. So I think where do we balance this? So this is the paradox in India that we have.
So you have a 8-year-old son. Will you make him a doctor?
Actually speaking, before I come to my son, anybody who actually comes to me and says, I want to become a doctor, the first thing is, are you genuinely, internally, you feel that you want to become a doctor? You please become a doctor. Just because you study well and the people around you tell you become a doctor, please don't become a doctor. Because the problem with entire part of medicine is, it requires a very long learning curve. And by the time you finish all this learning curve and come back, you are actually away from reality. Because what happens, medicine is 6 years, then you have to study 1 year for postgrad, then 3 years, then 1 year. By the time you're 33, 34, 35, the world has changed. And now when you suddenly come back, we think we have done a lot of hard work, we are coming, the society will look at us like that. But the society, the way look at us doctors at this point of time, I really don't think it is the same what it used to be 20 years back. I think things have definitely changed. So for that hard work you can do in something else which you are passionate about, I think at least you will be more happy about it.
What is the deal with the pre-existing conditions?
This is probably the biggest difficulty that many times we face when the patient is sitting in front of us. Because there is this thing that the insurance have kept it, which is any pre-existing disease, PED they call it in simple terms, which is any problem that they have had before taking their insurance. If the disease that you have today is directly or indirectly, if it is connected to that, they would not cover it. Let us say, for example, the patient had a diabetes even before they took up the policy. Today, if they get a diabetic-related retinopathy or a diabetic-related ulcer in the foot, now they'll ask you, is this related to any pre-existing illness? Obviously related to diabetes. They'll immediately reject because this was connected to a pre-existing disease, so this insurance will not be covered, straight away rejected. So, but many a times, the patients when they were taking something, they might have it may not have felt like a big thing, but they may not have said, let's say for example, they could have had appendectomy as basically when they were a child. They took the policy, the doctor would take the history, they might have missed that in the surgical history. The patient will come back, let's say after the insurance 10 years later with a hernia. That hernia may not be exactly there, but the hernia will be somewhere near it. We will say the hernia is there. And in the past surgical history, we will write open appendectomy because during history, the patient will say. Now they will say, this open appendectomy patient has had even before surgery itself. They did not tell during the policy is taken. So we believe this hernia could be related to that surgery and they will cancel it.
So they find reasons.
So they'll find reasons. So this pre-existing illness is something, sometimes it may not be connected at all even, but they link that to say that could be the reason that this patient had it. To that extent, I'm basically a bariatric surgeon. If you are having obesity, of course, they don't give policies for obesity. If you're obese, they don't give insurance policies at all.
Seriously?
Yes. Somebody needs to fight it out legally.
What, body mass index more than?
Body mass index more than 40. You cannot take an insurance policy at all. Because today I had a patient whose BMI was around 60. He was not even able to walk. He was suffering. They tried taking insurance policies. Insurance did not give. You know why? Because tomorrow he's prone for a lot of illnesses. So they know obesity will cause a lot of illness. So they don't want to give. This is not there in the court of law. They can actually fight it out and give. So they don't give. On the other contrary, last week we had a patient who had an insurance policy when the patient was not so obese. Later the patient became obese. The patient is now almost 55 BMI. We want to do bariatric surgery. And as per the current IRDA guidelines, bariatric surgery is now covered. Now we applied for an insurance policy. They rejected bariatric saying it is obese. They bariatric pandre obesity because of the high BMI, now the insurance policy is basically rejected. So they find ways and means, how can I reject? How can I cancel? So this is where the controversy starts. And what really happens is, in this whole thing, this patient goes back to that agent through which they took the policy. They'll call him and say, sir, it got rejected.
Correct.
The first thing is they'll blame the hospital. The hospital did not submit the documents properly, so it got rejected. So they'll create a patient-doctor trust deficit. So these guys, you call up the call center, they'll blame the hospital. You call up the agent, they'll blame the hospital. Because they want the customer to be happy. And see, obviously doctors will not be sitting with the patient talking about policy for half an hour. No. We will come, we will submit, gets rejected. They will just put the blame on us. The patient at the end of the day will be so unhappy with us. So your team only did not submit properly. See, what do you want to do? So this is also another reason that the insurance companies create a patient-doctor trust deficit between patients. So to that extent, I have made my insurance team so strong. When we have a patient insurances, now what all we're talking in this podcast, everything we talk to the patient the day of admission only. Because tomorrow we do not want to create a kind of a bad phase with our patient. We will so I tell my team, please educate the patients. They may not know about insurance. Please educate them. Because tomorrow if something goes wrong, we do not want a trust deficit between us to happen. I don't want some other third party guy, see, you trust me, you come to me, you get operated. Tomorrow because of some third party fellow, our trust should not be spoiled. Because doctor-patient goes by a trust deficit. Today what's happening? Some third fellows come and spoil our trust deficit. So this is where I think even hospitals have to be very careful in handling our patients.
Wow.
The way the explanations, handling their insurance queries, etc. and etc.
So they'll have to set up a system for that.
Absolutely.
But this problem has happened in the US as well. They will not even give the insurance. They'll decline it. But there is a slight difference is that they will give you at an increased premium.
Okay.
For example, without diabetes, the premium is, let's say, $600. With diabetes, it will be $2,200. But I think that makes a little bit of a sense where at least but if, let's say, diabetes is causing heart attack, then they'll cover completely. Okay. So, pre-existing condition. So, it is better to, the other question is, should we have to reveal when they ask?
If you're not revealed something and later if they come to understand that you have hidden some kind of a past history, they can just abruptly cancel your policy. So for that case, I think patients need to reveal everything. It's better. Whatever it comes, better reveal it.
Okay. So I'll tell you my experience towards the end of the segment. So my experience is that, I had a heart problem. So this was like 7 years ago. So when I was taking insurance, they were asking me. So I said, yeah, I had arrhythmias and I submitted all the documents. They said they declined it. They said, we will not cover you. We will cover you for everything else, but if anything heart related, we will not cover you. And then they said that we will reevaluate again in a year or two, and then if there is no more admissions, then we will cover. But that was a higher premium rate, so it's just a good thing. But let's say I have a major heart attack. Hopefully not. Let's say I'm doing a cabbage or a big bypass surgery. My thing is 10 lakhs. Will that be covered?
Again, now it is going to depend on, since it's a CABG, I am not a cardiologist and we don't do cardiac, I'm not sure.
So let's not like major invasive surgery, which is very expensive.
Okay. So because normally if it is going to be very major surgeries, packages are usually not signed. It will be based on standard operating cost. Basically, everything is ruled. So the hospital cannot charge because from the operation theatre to room charge to investigation, everything is signed. So everything will be based on those agreed tariffs. So we will have to bill you. Let's say, because in GEM Hospital's case, I have to say, let's say we are doing one cancer rectum. We are operating an intestinal resection, etc., what we call an anti-resection. Usually that is not part of the package. So it will be based on the actual billing. Let's say 6 hours of operating time, 1 week of room stay, consumables that were used, drugs.
Why is it not a part of the package?
Because you cannot put every surgery under a package. Usually the packages are done for the most common operations.
I see.
Because you start writing for packages, then you have hundreds of operations. They cannot be done. So major operations like this will be open billing, but open billing based on a standard operating cost that we have commonly agreed.
Okay.
So packages are there independently. So your billing is done based on that. Let us say this bill comes to now 5.5 lakhs and you have a sum insured of 10. Will not mean all my 5.5 lakhs that I'm going to bill you as bill will be covered under insurance. Because as per the policy or all policies, consumables are not covered as part of insurance policies. This is a guideline that is existing in our country. So what does this consumable mean?
Yeah, what is consumable?
The gloves is a consumable. Your Venflon is a consumable.
IV line.
Your IV line is a consumable. Your catheter is a consumable. The drain that you keep is a consumable. Imagine how can somebody operate without the gloves?
Right.
But that's considered a consumable. It's not covered as part of insurance, so you have to pay out of your pocket.
The hospital has to pay.
Not the patient has
The
to pay.
patient has to pay.
Because this is not a package surgery. It was an open billing. In an open billing, whatever comes as consumables, usually consumables and diet. The diet that you take during hospital stay. I mean, what? The patient is going to be fasting the whole time. They'll have to eat, right? But then the diets, consumables. See, how can an injection be given without a Venflon? But that's a consumable. How can a surgery be done without a gloves? But that's a consumable. How can a major surgery we can do without a urinary catheter?
Correct.
That's a consumable. How stupid it is. But as per today's regulation, consumables are not covered. So that is why earlier I told you, cashless does not mean 100% cashless. You will have to end up shelling that extra consumable and the diet. So you would have been assuming, I have 10 lakh policy,
Correct.
5.5 lakh only no bill.
Correct.
Why should I pay? But you will end up paying 50,000 or 1 lakh.
But the patient might not understand these nuances.
Patient might not understand. Why is this? I have 10 lakh. So this is where that education at the time of admission is very important by the hospital. Of course, the insurance companies don't educate them all this. When you take a policy, they'll be like, sir, everything will be covered. Only at that time. So this is when, if this is not educated well, then the hospital and the patients get into a problem. But that is how it is.
But what's the problem with the government insurance? Is that the same?
You mean to say
The 75% majority you talked about, Modi scheme.
That is again, because it's involving the government, I don't want to be too critical about it. But to be very honest, the costing that is done for all the government insurance scheme, including all the CGHS, ESI, every state insurance scheme, it's absolutely unscientific. It does not cover any cost. Any single doctor in the country can vouch for it. It is actually the biggest, probably it could be claimed as the world's largest insurance, but absolutely it is a very, very pathetic costing that they've done, purely unscientific, no logic behind it. Because for example, I can just quote one of the major surgeries. There's a procedure called Whipple's procedure, you will know.
Carcinoma pancreas.
For the pancreas, it's one of the largest surgeries that is done for the abdomen.
Yes.
You know, under the PMJ scheme, the cost that is given is 35,000 rupees. And when I go back, I was mentioning about a harmonic scalpel to you, right? Without a harmonic, you cannot do a Whipple at all. Just the harmonic scalpel costs 40,000.
Oh my
Then where is the rest? Just the harmonic 40,000. Now you need operating time, the doctor's fees, the drugs, OT charges, and everything needs to be covered in the scheme. So how is it even scientifically possible? In fact, I went to the extent of writing to the Right to Information Act. I took up five operations. I put the cost and saying, can you give me the costing analysis? See, when they're giving you a cost, need to split up, right? They just sent me the same package list again. They did not give me a split up. To that extent, there is something called this fibroadenoma breast, you know, right? Fibroadenoma of the right breast is 5,000. Fibroadenoma of the left breast is 6,000. That is how it's there in the PMJ scheme. It's a fibroadenoma of the same breast. So basically, somebody who has without any logic sat down behind it and just wrote those costings. So this
But as a patient, we are thinking that it's a good government scheme.
Electoral politics. I don't want to get beyond this. I'm a doctor. I'm running hospitals.
Okay, so we'll summarize this, whatever we discussed today. Okay, I am a patient. I'm going to talk to an insurance company based on what you told me. I said that, okay, I want insurance because I don't want to pay so much money if some bad thing happens. That is where the concept of insurance is, right? So I pay like 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees so that I don't end up in a 2 lakh, 3 lakh thing. So what you were suggested is I'm going to call the insurance company and then say, hey, have you ever tied up a package with the hospital? If they say yes, I'm going to shop around for an insurance company where they have not tied up the package. Do you think they will say yes?
They have to be transparent to you. I basically assume. But I think we need to ask these questions.
Can we ask the hospital?
Yes. But then question is, this is at the time of taking a policy, right? Which hospital are you going to go? So that is the point. So when you have a policy, because you come to a hospital when you have a problem, not when you take a policy. But on that contrary, I would say if you have a very good doctor friend, let's say you have me as a friend, if you are taking a policy, ask me. I can probably tell you which is a good policy to take or not a good policy to take.
Based on the time.
But then how many can really do that? That's the whole point. I think we need to check with insurance companies themselves.
Check with the insurance company. And then don't rely too much on the government scheme thinking that will cover everything. Okay,
yes.
As you said, it is very unscientifically proven, which is expected.
That is why most major hospitals in our country don't do these government schemes.
Oh, they don't accept government schemes.
They don't accept government schemes. Most major hospitals don't do it.
I see. Which hospital accepts? Government hospital.
No, a lot of private hospitals do. I'm saying the smaller scale hospitals. I'm saying the larger hospitals who have a reasonably good patient volume. So they have a commanding capacity. They may like, okay, I can get away without having it. But a smaller hospital, they need to survive, right? At the end of the day, it's a business. They need to survive. So obviously they end up signing. But normally I tell in the associations, it is like burning ourselves.
Yeah.
By doing that, you're actually burning ourselves. If we all stand together, probably the pricings will change. The pricings haven't changed for years. For years. And the medical inflation is basically 14% against the regular inflation of 6 to 8%. And medical inflation is 14%. So basically the packages or the cost that we sign has to go up by 14% every year. But it doesn't. There are so many insurance companies who have not changed their like hospitals who signed rates. They're not able to re-sign a package for 10 years because insurance company is not willing.
Wow. It's a long journey for you. It's a long journey for you. It was a wonderful conversation. Thank you. And one last thing for a patient who's listening to this podcast about insurance company or what they have decided. How do you advise?
See, it's not bad to, I might sound a little controversial. It's not bad to get an insurance policy, but however, again, I'll reiterate the point that healthcare in India is still reachable by Indians. That is why a significant portion of them still think I don't have to take an insurance. If it is like the US where it is madly expensive, I think you know what the cost in US.
Yes.
You cannot live without a health insurance because if you go wrong, not bankrupt, you will have to literally jump from the sky.
Correct.
So that is the cost. So because India is still affordable, still many of them think I can pay out of my pocket. So if somebody thinks I can pay out of my pocket, or if you can have some investments that is specifically done for healthcare emergencies, you can actually live without having an insurance. Because when you actually get into a problem, you don't have to go through all these headaches that I spoke to you about cashless, tie-up, pay for consumable, getting discharged, will this be covered or not? Walk into any hospital, choose the best doctor you want to get treated from, choose the best hospital. I think the hospitals are almost transparent. Today, the costs are quite transparent. If you call up any hospital, they'll tell you what the cost is. Decide whether you want this cost or not. There is you and the doctor. There is no third man in between. Pay, come home. But if you think, no, I may not be affordable enough to take care of if I'm going to become sick, then possibly you'll have to think at health insurances, considering all these factors that I spoke about.
Super. Thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful. It was a controversial discussion, but I think you nailed it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.